Myself, FSRZANA Begum, lecturer in economics. Today I am delivering the lecture on market structure. Price is determined in the market in common man's language. Market is a place where goods are sold and purchased. But in present age, buyers and sellers need not meet together at a particular place for their transaction. Though buyers and sellers are living at different places, still they can participate in selling and buying activities either directly or through representative by using communication and transport facilities. Market in economics, market means a social system for which the sellers and purchasers of a commodity or a service or group of commodities and services can interact with each other. In common language, market means a place where goods are purchased. However, in economics, market means an arrangement which establishes effective relationship between buyers and sellers of a commodity. Hence, each commodity has its own market. Market indicates the interrelationship between the supply of a product and demand for this product. Changes in demand and supply will influence the changes in price and vice versa. Thus, market is the coordination of price determination with mutual interaction of demand and supply forces. Economics discuss four broad categories of market structure. On the basis of the size of demand, markets are classified as local market, national market, and international market. On the basis of time, market, very short period, long period, very long period. On the basis of nature of the competition, on the basis of number of sellers and the availability of the substitutes, market are classified in perfect competition and imperfect competition. On the basis of degree of imperfectness, imperfect market is classified in monopoly, duopoly, oligopoly, and monopolistic competition. This is the market structure. Perfect competition. Perfect competition is a market structure in which large number of sellers sell a homogeneous product at uniform price. On the basis of nature of the competition, that is on the basis of number of sellers and the availability of the substitutes, whose markets are classified as perfect market and imperfect market. Here we will study the feature of the perfect competition. Price determination, equilibrium determination. Features of the perfect competition. Large numbers of sellers and buyers. Firms or sellers will be in large number and tough competition prevails among them. The supply of an individual seller is so small relative to the total output. The individual seller is unable to influence the price of the product by increasing or decreasing its supply. He adjusts his supply to the price of the product. He acts as output adjuster or price taker. He has to accept the price for the product as given, which is fixed for the whole industry. Producers individually are not in a position to influence the price and output of the industry. Similarly, buyers are also in large numbers and they face competition among themselves for the goods. The demand of an individual buyer relative to the total demand is very small and therefore he cannot influence the price of the product by his individual action. Here, price of a product will be determined in the market on the basis of its supply and demand. Homogeneous goods, homogeneous products. Under perfect competition, all firms sell homogeneous goods, which are identical in quantity, shape, size, color, packing, etc. So the product has perfect substitutes of each other. All firms in the industry will produce and sell homogeneous product. Industry consists of a group of a firm which will produce homogeneous goods. As the goods are homogeneous, these are perfect substitutes and its cross elasticity is infinite and one single price prevails throughout the market. So no buyer has any preference for the product of any individual seller over others. If any seller raises the price for his product, his customers would leave him and buy the product from other sellers at the lower price. Price is uniform. Sellers are free to sell their goods to any buyers and the buyers are free to buy from any sellers. That is, there is no discrimination on the part of seller or buyer. There is no state intervention, no government regulation. Price of a product changes as per the changes in the demand and supply. Freedom of entry and exit firms. Firms are free to enter or leave the industry without any hindrances. Whenever the industry is earning supernormal profit, some new firms enter the industry. Attracted by the profit, due to this, on the one side, production increases and price falls, and on the other side, cost of production increases, and these changes will lead to normal profit. In case of losses in the industry, some of the existing firms which cannot bear these losses will leave the industry. Due to this, on the one side, production decreases and price rises, and on the other side, cost of production decreases, and these changes will lead to normal profit. Thus, in the long run, only normal profit will prevail. Perfect knowledge. Buyers will have complete knowledge about sellers, and sellers will have complete knowledge about buyers. Buyers must have knowledge about the goods available in the market, their industry, quality and prices. Sellers must know about the taste of consumers and quantity of different goods bought at different prices. Buyers and sellers also have perfect knowledge of the market condition, and because of this, sellers need not resort of any business advertisement. Hence, there are no selling costs in perfect competition. Perfect mobility of goods and factors of production. There is perfect mobility in the goods market as well as in the factor market. There are no restrictions over their mobility. Goods are free to move to those markets where they get the highest price. Similarly, factor of the production will also move from a low paid to a high paid firm or industry or market. Absence of transport cost. There are no transport costs in carrying a product from one place to another. This condition is essential for the existence of the same price everywhere at any time. If transport cost exists, then even a homogeneous product will have different prices in different markets depending upon transport cost from the place of production. Perfectly elastic demand. Changes in demand and supply may take place in the same direction or in the opposite direction. Price, demand, and supply mutually depends on each other and mutual relation exists between them. Though both demand and supply are necessary for price determination, their effect is not the same in price determination. In certain cases, demand will have more effect. In some other cases, supply will have greater effect. The efficient of changes in demand and supply on the price and quantity of product are explained by this graph. Imperfect competition. Imperfect competition generally, perfect competition does not exist in the real world. Absence of perfect competition is an imperfect market. There are four types of imperfect market: monopoly, duopoly, oligopoly, and monopolistic competition. Monopoly. Monopoly refers to a market situation where there is one seller and monopoly is the market situation where there is only one firm or one seller which produces and will sell the homogeneous commodities. As the single firm exists in the monopoly, there is no difference between firm and industry. Thus, the monopoly firm is itself an industry. And this firm is also called as single firm industry. The firm will have control over the market, and this controlling power determines the monopoly power of a firm. Total supply of a product is under the control of a single firm, and due to this, the firm can also control the price. Monopolist can either fix the quantity of a product or its price with the goal of maximize his profit, but he cannot set both the price and output. If he sells his output level, its price is determined by the demand for the product. Or if he sets the price for his product, its quantity is determined by the demand for the product at that price. The price he fixes and the output he decides to produce are determined by the condition of demand. In monopoly market, buyers are in large numbers, hence they do not have any control over the demand for the product, or they cannot influence the price of the product by their individual action. No close substitution. The product has no close substitutes and the cross demand elasticity is very low. In the words of Geraldine, this product must have unending speciality. So the demand curve for the product is relatively stable. No entry for firm. As monopoly is the single firm industry, even in the case of maximum profit, new firm will not enter the industry. Nature of demand curve. Demand curve is the same in the case of monopolist and in the industry. Monopolist will reduce the price for his product to increase his sale. Therefore, the demand curve for his product or the average revenue curve slopes downward from left to right. Types of monopoly: private monopoly, public monopoly, pure monopoly, imperfect monopoly, simple monopoly, discriminating monopoly. Single features of monopoly: single sellers and large number of buyers, no close substitute, restrictions of entry of the firm, price maker, possibility of price discrimination. Monopolistic competition. It is the form of market in which large number of sellers selling different products. Monopolistic competition refers to the market structure in which there are many firms selling closely related products. The term competition means questions of many firms, and terms monopoly means they are market power on the own product. Because of the larger number of firms, an individual firm holds a part of total market and entry and exits are free like perfect competition. Again, the monopoly power under this market is not strong enough because the consumer can easily switch on the other substitute brand on the price of any particular brand access. In the year 1933, John Robinson, in her book Economics of Imperfect Competition, and E. H. Chamberlain, in his book Theory of Monopolistic Competition, have developed models which describe the real market situation. There are some difference between these two models. Features or characteristics of monopolistic competition. Large number of sellers and buyers. In monopolistic competition, there are large number of sellers or firms selling closely related but not identical products. The larger number of firms in the same line of production leads to competition. Individual firm share in the total output is very small and none control a major proportion of the total output. Individual firms share in the total output is very small and non-controlled a major proportion of total output. Each firm pursues an independent policy regarding its output and price. Any seller, by changing its price and output policies, cannot influence the policies of others and in turn be influenced by them. In monopolistic competition, large number of buyers will prevail. However, each buyer has a preference of a specific brand of the product. Product differentiation. Another important feature for the existence of monopolistic competition is the product differentiation. Each firm produces the product which is differentiated from the rival product, and each of the firm has monopoly power over his own product. This way, the term monopolistic appears in the name of the market. Freedom of entry and exit of firm. There is entry freedom on the part of each firm to enter into the exit from the industry whenever respective favorable or unfavorable circumstances arises in the long run. If there are abnormal profit in the group, then new firm will enter and the aggregate group output expand. That leads to reduction of price and margin of profit. The decreases leading that lead to reduction of price. And margin of profit that decreases leading to normal profit. Lack of perfect knowledge. Buyers and sellers do not have perfect knowledge about the market condition. Selling costs create artificial superiority in the minds of the consumers, and it becomes very difficult for a consumer to evaluate different products available in the market. As a result, a particular product is preferred by the habitual consumers even if the list price products are of the same quality. Pricing decision. Non-price competition. Selling cost. There are no selling costs in perfect competition as there is a perfect knowledge among buyers and sellers. Similarly, under monopoly, selling cost in monopolistic competition, selling costs are there. In the modern world, advertisement in the form of selling cost has become an art for which both print media and visual media are extensively used. Every firm will spend on advertisement to pursue regular customer, not to purchase from other firms. To induce regular customers to buy each product in the same or their quantity, or to buy more of the same product and same product. Oligopoly. The term oligopoly is derived from two Greek words, oligos meaning a few and pollen meaning to sell. Oligopoly is one of the market type in imperfect competition. It is a market situation where a few firms, that is more than two firms, exist with competition among themselves. An oligopoly firm may produce either a homogeneous product or heterogeneous product. Oligopoly is a situation that lies between monopoly and monopolistic competition. In monopoly, there is only one seller, and in monopolistic competition, there are many sellers. Types of oligopoly: pure and perfect oligopoly, imperfect or differentiated oligopoly, collusive oligopoly, non-collusive oligopoly. Features of oligopoly: few sellers, control over supply, interdependence of firm, conflicting attitudes of firm, lack of uniformity of size of firm. Interdependence, very few firms in oligopoly compete among themselves, and at the same time they are interdependent with regard to their output and price. The action of firm depends on the expected action of other firm as a response to its action. Each firm should carefully imagine the counter moves by the rivals. A firm produces considerable quantity on the total output of the group, and so it can increase or decrease price. Profits of other firms are affected by its action, and the counter moves affect its profit also. So competition along with interdependence on the action of the rivals coexists in the oligopoly market. Selling advertisement cost or selling cost are prominent in oligopoly. They are necessary to improve sales and withstand competition from the rivals. Oligopoly firm avoid price competition for the fear of price war. They compete through advertisements and customer service. In fact, a firm can change the price, but the reaction of the rival keep the price rigid. If a firm raises the prices and the other firm do not react, it will lose the market. Similarly, if it decreases prices and the rivals also do the same, it cannot increase the sales. So oligopoly firm prefer non-price competition and accept price rigidity. There are few large firms under oligopoly. Each firm has a significant share in the total output. In the automobile industry in India, there is oligopoly with a few firms. Every firm closely watches the action of the rival on price and output. Group B have formed in oligopoly. Group behavior. Firm in oligopoly realize the danger of competition. A single firm is reluctant to take independent decision on price and output. Oligopoly firm prefer group decision to protect the interest of all the firms. They retain their independence on one hand and act like a single firm through formal and informal arrangement. Indeterminate demand curve. The exact behavior pattern of a producer cannot be determined under oligopoly. The demand curve of a firm in oligopoly is indeterminate. That means uncertain. Firms are interdependent, and the reaction of the rival firm assume importance. If a single firm change price, competing firm also change the price. So demand curve of a firm keep on shifting and it is not definite. The demand curve of a particular firm is indeterminate due to the reaction of the rivals. Sales of a firm depend on its current price and also on the prices of the rival. Duopoly. It is a specific type of a oligopoly where only two producers exist in one market reality. This definition is generally used where only two firms have dominant control over a market. So, the duopoly is a situation where there are only two firms operating in the market and between them competition exists. Both the firms are completely independent with no agreement between them. These two firms sell a homogeneous product and a change in the price and output of one will affect the other. This This leads to a chain of reaction. A seller assumes that his rival is unaffected by his decision and he takes only his direct influences on the price. On the other hand, if each seller takes into account the effect of his policy on his rival and the reaction of the rival, then he considers both the direct and indirect influences upon the price. The two firms are very closely dependent upon each other. Thus, the duopoly problem can be considered either by ignoring mutual dependence or by recognizing it. Features of duopoly. There are only two firms. Product may be homogeneous or differentiated. Each firm depends on the reaction of the other. Both the firms have identical cost. Competition between firms may lead to price war. Duopoly firms may get normal profit in the short run and monopoly profit in the long run. Both the firms have freedom to decide their output. Thank you.